Guys, Pretzelman 945 here. Welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm going to be talking about something I was excited for quite a long time, which is season 2 of the One Piece live action. And man, the it did not disappoint. Absolutely lived up to the hype. This was so much better than the first season, which I already thought was pretty good. This was absolutely fantastic, like on every level. I really consider like the adaptation of these arcs to be like a perfect adaptation, genuinely. Um, Now beginning with Logtown, um, the vibe of Logtown was nailed perfectly. The amount of extras and background characters with all the different costumes and props were just absolutely insane. There were so many different ones that all had such unique styles, was really freaking cool. And speaking of characters that look cool, holy moly, they nailed Smoker, dude. He looks just like a total badass, and the effects for his smoke logia were honestly like impeccable. Like overall, the CG effects in this season were such a massive improvement over the first season. Um, and I think that this is most clearly shown with Smoker's Logia and one other example I'll get to in a minute. Um, Tashigi is fun. Tashigi is basically the same. They did the sword scene like absolute perfection. That's like my favorite scene from Logtown, probably top two from Logtown. And they just adapted that perfectly. Luffy on the execution stand was also great. Buggy for his brief cameo was just as always, extremely entertaining. I also really liked the effects on Alvida's Devil Fruit. I think that they were able to kind of show the character difference well. Um, uh, yeah, I think that's about all the thoughts on Logtown. Um, One thing that you will consistently see me praise throughout this video is the fact that by far to me the most impressive thing about season 2 of the One Piece live action was the pacing. Because it feels like all of Logtown, all of Reverse Mountain, and all of Whiskey Peak were perfectly encapsulated into one episode each for the first 3 episodes. And even though Little Garden took 2 and Drum Island took 3, it felt like very well paced even in those cases as well. So that's a very consistent theme, and I think it's by far the best thing about season 2. Um, Now, moving on to Reverse Mountain, um, the decision to introduce Brook here, obviously not as a skeleton, but like him actually alive during his Rumbar pirate days, was a very interesting decision, which I actually think worked extremely well in terms of really upping the likability of Laboon's character in a faster way than the anime did because it had more time to do so. Mr. Nine and Miss Wednesday's introductions were funny. Crocus was absolutely fantastic. It's the same actor as um the Blackfish from Game of Thrones, which I think is a hilarious coincidence because they are quite different roles, and yet the actor Clive Russell did an amazing job as Crocus. I was very impressed by that. Um, uh, Also, I absolutely loved the fact that Binks's Brew is canon to the live action because I fucking love that song so much. And the fact that Luffy sings it to Laboon was just such a touching and sweet scene. I loved that. Reverse Mountain was amazing. Um, and so was Whiskey Peak because this was just a lot of fun. Igaram had a fantastic introduction and death. Um, and Vivi really gets her first moment to shine in this part. Zoro defeating the 100 bounty hunters was ridiculously badass. I'm going to talk about the main cast probably near the end because I do have some like a separate point that I want to say about them, which is not related to me covering new characters and material, like sort of arc by arc type thing. Um, uh, And then like Igaram just going insane on on the berry sacks for no reason was just awesome. I loved seeing that. um and and yeah, I thought that Igaram was a fantastically casted character. Um uh all the Baroque Works members were just perfection. That is truly the only way to describe it. Like, from their costumes to their mannerisms to um to the effects of their devil fruit, which were just all fantastically done. The Baroque's Works members, in especially Mr. Three in particular, we're gonna get to Little Garden, um, in a second, but Mr. Three in particular was just like his wax fruit was just awesome, like effects wise, and his like personality through the acting was just incredible. Um, it's pretty late, so do excuse any yawning I do. I'm a little bit tired. Um, and now we get to Little Garden, and I have to start off with the fact that Dory and Broggy were absolutely awesome. I loved the way that they did the Giants because that was another thing that I wasn't really sure how they were gonna do, but and I still have no idea how they actually filmed it, but the way that they filmed it is really freaking cool. And like both of them are just completely awesome characters that were just adapted to perfection as well. Um, and also just like the general vibe of Little Garden and like the dinosaurs and all that stuff, it was just a super fun time. And and Vivi really gets some time to shine here. Um, I'm gonna divert from what I was talking about to mention Vivi specifically really quick. The actress for Vivi did such an incredible job. Absolutely nailed the emotional core of Vivi for this section of the story, and I have no doubt that she will continue to deliver once we get to Alabasta in season 3. And I have to shout her out specifically because she I think was probably the best new performance of um of this season. because every time I was extremely consistently impressed by um how well she nailed the emotions of Vivi. And that's saying a lot because there are a lot of extremely well acted characters in this season, as I just mentioned, like the Baroque Works members, Nori Bogi, Dalton, as we'll get to a hero look as well. Like, but I do think that Vivi is the best like performance of this season. Um, and speaking of killer performances, a character that I didn't mention that has also just the best devil fruit effects in addition to Smoker's Logia was Robin and or Miss All Sunday as she's known as in this season. Um and her flower fruit just incredible effects. The hands like shockingly didn't really look weird, which is truly an achievement because it's a weird devil fruit, and it was going to be a challenge making it not look weird with the CG, but they absolutely nailed it. Or I guess I should say crushed it, since that's what she does with her devil fruit. Um, uh, and also just like the character herself, the way she speaks, her attitudes, the costume design, this incredible version of Robin that obviously didn't have much screen time and doesn't have much until Alabasta, but like her visiting the Straw Hat ship out of nowhere was such a freaking cool scene. I'm so excited to see more from her in Alabasta adaptation. Um and okay, I think it's time to move on to um Grum Island now. And the biggest talking point that I think I should address immediately is Chopper, because this Chopper was by far the biggest talking point of the entirety of season two. Like, even while even like before like even just after season one had finished, people were talking about how are they going to do Chopper. I even mentioned it in my initial review of season one, which I rewatched to give myself some context for what I said um about season one to make this video. And I even mentioned that at myself in my old video. Um, and Hmm. Yeah. um, I'm happy to say they nailed Chopper. They really did. Now, I the one thing with Chopper that I'm a little bit iffy on, the only thing is that I feel like his forms is specifically the bulk up form, which I forget the proper name of right now, but the bulk up form it wasn't bad, but it just looked a bit weird at times. But like him in his normal form, like him just walking around normally actually looked really, really good and was just like a really cute version of Chopper. And a change that they made to Chopper here that I really, really liked is the fact that he wasn't as reluctant about joining the crew, because that felt like in the anime it's sort of frustratingly wasted time with how many times he tended to go back and forth and back and forth. Um, and then him like viewing the cherry blossoms was just incredible. Um, Everything about Chopper's backstory was absolute top tier adaptation. Hero Look had a brilliant actor that did a brilliant performance, especially in the moment of his death with the whole thing of like how does a man die? That was so well done. That was so well done. That might be the singular best moment in the entirety of season two, just because of how well they re-adapted that scene. Um, uh, Like, what else is there? Oh, Dalton. Okay, I gotta talk on Dalton because Dalton is actually a character that I like a lot more in this live action than I did in the anime, to be honest. Well, for one thing, I forgot he had a devil fruit, just straight up. It's I I guarantee you not many people remember that Dalton has a devil fruit because I certainly did not. Um and just Dalton had like so many great moments to him, and I really, really like um the fact that his performance compared to the anime in this live action felt a little bit more toned down and emotionally restrained, which I felt like was able to give Dalton as a character more emotional nuance in the way that he acted and responded to certain situations. Um, uh, the If I had to point out one, I guess, kind of big problem that I have with this season, which isn't even really that big, it's the fact that I was not a huge fan of the way that Wapple was designed. I thought that he just looked incredibly strange, kind of like Arlong did. Where like I don't know why the entire thing on his mouth is metal, but he looked like this is going to be a serious deep cut, but he looked like from the Wallace and Gromit shorts, he looks like the robot dog that was made in one of those shorts. I don't remember which one, but there was like a robot killer dog that was made that goes after Wallace that Gromit has to stop. And like the Wapple's mouth design reminded me of that, and it just looked really weird, and I don't think it was a particularly accurate representation of Wapple. They nailed his personality, but I don't know, something about the design just didn't really click with me personally. Um, and Yeah, I think that's all my talking points on each of the individual arcs that were adapted. One more note on the pacing, which I feel is important to bring up based on what I said in my original video. My personal biggest concern was that they would need more episodes to do Alabasta, but they didn't actually need that because they only went through Drum Island in this season two, and Alabasta will be in season three. And I seriously cannot praise this decision enough because there would be other Netflix original shows that would probably try to cram Alabasta within an 8 episode format similar to the first season in this live action. And I am very, very glad that that didn't happen and that Alabasta has its own proper arc with an entire season of build up is going to get the time that it deserves. I don't know if it's going to be an entire season. That would be really cool, although I kind of feel like it's a little bit unlikely for that to happen. Um, but regardless, I know for a fact that Alabasta is going to be given the proper time it deserves to really just let that story play out. which I'm very, very excited about. Um, um, Another thing that I want to talk on, and this is much more general regarding the main five Straw Hats. Um, I was not in my original review, I was not particularly like fond of certain ones. I praised Inaki Godoy as Luffy, and I said I liked Sanji and Taz Skylar and Baker Romero as Usopp. Um, but I wasn't particularly hot on either Nami or Zoro. And my opinion on both of these characters has been completely flipped. And to be honest, I kind of feel like I was like at the time I was still in the midst of binging One Piece when the live action originally came out. So as a result, I don't feel like I gave enough appreciation to how much heart and personality all of the actors are putting into every character. So obviously the three that I had initially praised, Inaki Godoy as Luffy, Jacob Romero as Usopp, and Taz Skylar as Sanji, those were all excellent. And in fact, my opinion on those three has only gone up in positivity. Um, Luffy was just the same as he's always been. He was great. Uh, Jacob Romero did such a fantastic job illustrating and performing Usopp's critical development during Little Garden, and his relationship with the giant was just fantastically acted. And has Skylar as Sanji in this season, like this is partly a combination of the fact that like the writing and the dialogue was just so witty and funny and very enjoyable to watch. And also the fact that like Sanji's character in particular had a lot more one-liners, but they didn't feel forced in. It felt like he had a lot more personality and like fun and whimsy to him while also maintaining that same like core personality that he did a great job of doing in season 1. And regarding Nami, I think that I just appreciate the like I honestly I didn't think that like I found her performance boring, which is just a crazy thing to say because especially thinking back and comparing it with this second season, obviously I do believe that a part of it is the fact that I think that all the actors for the main cast really became more comfortable with their characters in this season. Um and really like allowed themselves to just express themselves a lot more, which I really love to see. But like Nami's performance was just so Nami coded as well. Like it's so accurate to the character, and even if Zoro isn't as brutish or he's more of, I guess, like he seems to be a little bit less standoffish than he is in the anime. I think that both of those qualities are probably for the better, to be honest, and it's not something that I think I appreciated enough within the first season. And so overall, my opinion on the main cast has gone up considerably from before, specifically with my opinion on the performances of Nami and Zoro completely changing from what I said in my original video. And yeah, overall, this second season of the live action was absolutely fantastic, and I dare say that there are certain arcs that they adapted, which I would say were done better than the anime. And I know that might be an outrageous thing to say, but it's my opinion as of right now recording this video. I might calm down on that, but that's my opinion right now. This season was absolutely fantastic, and it is such a great evolution from the good stuff of the first season in like every possible way. They like improved upon the lessons that they got from season one so well. Um, and yeah, okay, that's enough yapping. Um, yeah, this season was absolutely fantastic. Absolute must watch. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this video. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.